You're one of those any fool can carry a gun states.
Any fool can carry a gun state. Okay, well, I'm one of those fools that can carry a gun. So here we go.
All right, let me set the stage. You're about to watch a video of a woman in Memphis walking into a gas station convenience store with a gun, just casually sitting in her back pocket. Then out of nowhere, a man walks right up behind her, snatches the gun, and takes off like it's GTA 6. She follows him out, and what does he do? He turns around and points the gun at her. Yeah, so let's roll that footage. Okay, here she is walking into the store. The gun right in her back pocket. No holster, no retention, just vibes. Now, here comes this dude. Watch him. He spot.
I mean, why, if you're a bad guy, why wouldn't you? That's all I got to say right now.
Exactly. Why not? I mean, it's a free gun.
That's it. Snatches the gun like he's done this before.
Hello.
And then bolts.
What the
She
hell?
follows him outside. He turns around, gun raised, her gun that is. Now she stops. She knows at this point this shit is real. And that could have been everything right there. In the year of our Lord 2025, why on God's green earth are people still carrying guns in their back pocket?
Because any fool can carry a gun.
Where you've got a gag.
Did you say because any fool can carry a gun?
Yep.
Okay.
In that state.
And that
who don't see your gun as a deterrent, they see it as an opportunity. You think they're scared of you just because you got a gun in your back pocket? These kids will kill you just for looking at them wrong. They don't care about your little statement, Kerry. They'll snatch that thing off of you and then post it on Instagram like, look, free gun Fridays. This right here, this is a Springfield Hellcat Pro inside of a Vetter holster. You see this? This here? Use it.
The rest of this video, Mark, you can stop it now. The rest of this video is just this gentleman talking about how he's a Second Amendment guy talking about how you should, get a appropriate holster.
Well,
you can order that holster on FugitiveWatch Amazon links, by the way.
But if you go to the next story, Mark,
I hope I have it.
Not yet. I want to talk about that because
the next story is part of this story.
Okay.
So
go ahead, Steve. Though, real quick. Go ahead, Scott, because I got to set that up. Steve, what was it?
Go ahead, Scott.
No, I was going to remind you, Steve. Remember when you and I were in Arizona? We went to a conference there for FugitiveWatch, and we had some downtime. And we decided to go to a movie theater, and we were looking at that overweight guy with the mustard stains on his wife beater shirt, and he was in his flip-flops that were all sideways, looked like they're probably about 20 years old. He wore them all the way down, and he was standing there next to his girlfriend, and we're looking at him, and he was strapped with that big old Glock on his side next to round.
Developing tonight, Metro Police arrest.
And you and I looked at him, and I go, I don't feel comfortable sitting in a movie theater with him. I said, anyway, I could walk up and take that gun away from him and beat him over the head with it. I go, I don't feel comfortable because I know that guy's not trained to stop anybody. Anybody wants that gun, they're going to just take it away from him.
Yeah,
he ain't going to do nothing.
That's what happens when you have any fool can carry a gun.
Yeah, and
go ahead and show the next story, Mark.
Zombie Cat, it's Free Gun Friday. I'm rolling. Kelly Joe, good to see you. Good friend of mine there. All right, here we go. Next story. We're going. Here we go.
Developing tonight, Metro Police arrested a man they say shot and killed someone with the victim's gun. It happened inside an AutoZone on Charleston Boulevard and Maryland Parkway. Police say a man walked into the store acting erratically and approached a man who had an open carry gun. They say the two started fighting, but the suspect was able to steal the gun and then shot and killed the gun owner. Metro officers found the suspect about a block away, and they took him into custody.
Another any fool can carry a gun state, huh?
He said, wow, this has been happening a lot.
There's much more.
Investigators with the NTSB are
more responsibility of carrying a gun,
Say that again.
Well, there's a lot of responsibility when you're carrying a gun.
Yeah, there is. There is. We all know that.
And these any fool can carry a gun states that there's two good examples right there, and right. I'm sure this is just the tip of the iceberg.
And that's the thing is they take your gun away because you have no training. You're winded in less than 2 seconds. You have no ability to study any type of gun retention to keep your gun. They take your gun away, and now everybody around can become a potential victim. And I don't know. I have a problem with these. Any fool could carry a gun.
I mean, Mark. In my career, I worked with officers that had no business carrying a gun. They were just they were mentally unprepared to use it or keep it, or how to use it. And I did not feel safe around them with a gun. And yet these states will let any fool carry a gun in their state.
How many of us in our departments have had accidental discharges go off in the offices?
I could probably on one hand count the number of officers I've seen shoot themselves. At the range.
Right. Yeah. Or even in locker rooms, you would have like that.
These are trained.
Some of the ones I know are like real big gun advocate guys, and they're all about the tactics.
Most of the time, that's
so
what it
it
is.
happens, accidents. But again, I've been around guns, my age, all my life, and I haven't had any.
I started. That's when I started wearing my vest. Even on my day off, if I had to go qualify, I would take my vest because I didn't trust the guys around me.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yep. You gotta be careful. All right, so let's do this. Hey man, speaking of law enforcement, ex-cops, this one.
Well, in both of those cases, just for our followers, the Tennessee case, the subject was arrested. He got identified and was arrested. And in the Las Vegas, Nevada case, he was also arrested.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Tony says I work at AutoZone, Arizona. I had my 45 on me every day, and we get it. Arizona's a state where you can do that. But Tony, you're a responsible gun owner. You went through some training, and you know how to use it. And I don't have a problem with that as long as you get the training. And I'm a big, I believe in the Second Amendment, but I also believe that there should be a waiting period, national one, and we should. A lot of fools shouldn't be being able to just go and buy a gun. I'm sorry, it's my opinion. Well-regulated militia, right?
There's no common sense. It's absolutely ridiculous that the state would let that lady carry a goddamn gun, excuse my language, in her back pocket. She's, and that's just a homicide waiting to happen.
Would they let her do it in Idaho? I'm sorry, never mind. Different subject. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to go there. All right, so let's move on to. Let's move on to this one here. And what do you guys think about Ghost 3 printed guns? Yeah, and I mean, it's an issue. They're out there. It's a reality. We all got to deal with it.
I almost feel that it's better to let people carry the guns concealed rather than having them hang out where somebody can take the gun away from them, to be honest with you. I mean, I think most people are going to be less of a danger to the public if their weapons concealed, because then some mope's not going to try to take their gun. And as opposed to having like the guy you and I saw, Steve, in Arizona, I mean, anybody could have took his gun, and my grandmother back then could have beat him down and took his gun. We have
another example.
Tony agrees with you.
We have another example later on in the show, Mark, in Fairfax, Virginia, where 2 police officers were shot by a guy who was Virginia is any fool can carry a gun state, and he was armed with a Glock and shot 2 police officers on a car stop.
I told you my son's in North Carolina in the military, and he just went to his full CCW class, and it was not easy for him to. I mean, he had to go through the classes, and that may be going away in North Carolina, where it may go to any fool to carry a gun, just walk in and buy one. Which we hope it doesn't, but we'll see.
One more quick story, Steve. You remember the story we posted a few years ago, where the woman was pushing her kid around in a shopping cart, and she had her purse in the shopping cart, and her gun was in the shopping cart. What do you think? Where do you think this story is going? The little kid's in the shopping cart. He's like, 2 years old or something like that?
Yep.
Pulls the gun out and shoots himself in the store. And I'm like, why would you be carrying your gun? I mean, if you're going to carry that gun, then damn it, that gun better be secure on you, not sitting in a shopping cart in your purse next to your little kid. I mean, and again, carrying a gun's a big responsibility. We've done it. We've all done it for a long time. And I'll tell you, a lot of times I don't carry my gun all the time because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the responsibility of it. And so it's like sometimes it's just, and I get blowback from people who go, "Oh, you don't carry your gun with you all the time?" I go, "No, man."
No, man, because Scott's hands are registered weapons with the FBI. right? And he look,
FBI,
you don't need to carry a gun to be a man. That's for sure, right? It doesn't mean this soda can is a weapon.
Scott and I know people who their whole purpose to move to Arizona was because he wanted to be able to carry a gun. So he moved.
Yeah,
he moved there.
Pick up your whole family just so you can carry a gun.
His whole family moved to Arizona because I want to be able to carry a gun.
Okay, Rewired says, I found a gun under my grandfather's bed when I was a kid. I didn't touch it, but I ran to him telling me I had a gun under his bed like he didn't know. You know, I remember, and then Eastside Tony's following the law in AZ and a dad with $2 in and out gave me a heads up to beware when carrying open carry. So yeah, beware. There are people that might challenge you because you're wearing a gun. And someone like that, the guy in the video may come up and try to take that gun from you. Something to think about. You know, growing up in law enforcement in my family, with my kids are little, it was like, let's get this out of the way now. Here's the gun. Let's get your curiosity away. Cleared it. You know, the kid was old enough, you know, let him look at it, hold it if he wanted to. This is what we were actually consulted with firearms people about this. Let's get the curiosity out of the way. Okay.
Oh, it's the best.
Take the kid to the range. I took my gun, my kid, the first time he shot a pistol, I think he was 6, right? Took him out to a ranch that we were all hunted at and stuff. You know, my daughter never really was too interested in it. You know, Ashley was little now. She didn't want to have anything to do with it, but got the curiosity out of the way, you know, and then the other thing was that if you ever see one of the guns, you need to let us know because, you know, we kept the guns out of sight and secure. But if we ever screwed up, which it never happened, you know, you gotta let us know. Hey, Dad, I can see your gun. You know,
how did Eastside Tony know? How did Eastside Tony know that I give Chuck Norris massages?
Hey,
but you know, Mark, there's just so
since the newspaper dried up, we have FugitiveWatch got to do whatever we can to make some money around here. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
You know, Mark, there's just so much. There's so much more to carrying the gun. You know, and if you get in a gunfight, you know, do you have enough ammunition? What if you run out of ammunition? What if you run out of bullets? You know, ammunition. I mean, there's just so much to you know. You're not going to just stand there and these people think they're going to stand there and go toe to toe with somebody with a gun. I mean, there's
some people are. No, some people are. Some people aren't. You bring a lot. If you decide to be that person to step in with your gun, you have a lot going on. A lot can happen. You know, obviously some of the cases I do around the Valley and East Side in Oakland area too. You know, I'm a licensed PI, CCWs from my department and through the state and everything. And so, you know, I have to go into some neighborhoods and I'm retrieving cars all the time in East Oakland by myself. You know, not going to pull on anybody if I don't have to, but I will defend myself if I have to.
But we've had, you know, you have officers that were on duty and they get into shootings and they have to live with the fact that one of their rounds killed an innocent bystander, you know, that they didn't mean to kill.
Gotta be careful.
You know, it's just a lot of responsibility with carrying a firearm.
So I don't know anything about Scott's OnlyFans, Tony. That's between Scott and Chuck. Okay. All right. And then Rewired was telling us the story about the finding the gun. Also, Rewired was asking us about
ghost guns.
3D ghost guns, and that, you know, there's laws against it. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen though. Just like cars with the illegal exhaust is going to be happening, right? So right there.
Yeah. Well, obviously,
covered license plates. Right, all those illegals.
There are laws against 3D ghost guns.
There are laws against.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
So what we think is, don't do it.
Don't do it. That's right. Okay, we're gonna move on. And guns. Wow, we should just do a whole show on guns. Probably get a lot of traffic here. All right, so.